You want to be right or you want to make money? That's one of the first things I've learned since joining Blaze Capital. Hi, my name is Peter Pappas. I joined Blaze Capital about a year ago. I've been a member since kind of the beginning, since I discovered Justin and Blaze. So let me tell you a bit about myself. I'm 49 years old. I own a restaurant in Saint-Zotique, Quebec. Proud Quebecer because Justin and Rick, the two founders of Blaze Capital, are Quebecers. And definitely that makes me comfortable. Anyhow, before I joined Blaze Capital, I was making very rookie mistakes that I know better not to do now since I have. I've been running a successful restaurant for years. I have a few properties. I'm good in real estate, but I was always interested in the stock market. And I was smart enough to realize that I don't know everything there is about the stock market. I know there's been a lot of talk this year about the weed boom and everyone was making money in marijuana stocks. You couldn't help not hear about it. It was everywhere. It was on the internet, it was on the news, it was in the newspapers. Every day in my restaurant, people would talk about what's happening about the weed stocks, who made money, who didn't make money. Some of the old timers were like, don't touch this. It's a terrible thing. You're going to lose all your money. I remember one day I saw a front page in the newspaper, the millionaires of pot. That got people's attention. It got mine too. So I decided to invest in the green rush. I read a few articles on Yahoo. Again, I'm a restaurant souvlaki guy. I knew stocks, I've made investments in the past, but this weed thing was new. So I read a few articles on Yahoo. I saw that the Canopy was a good company. It went up $10 already from the time I looked at it. I said, hey, if I would have bought at 20, now it's at 30, I would have made so much. I decided to jump in and start my new career in the stock market. I bought 2,000 shares of Canopy at $30. A few days later, it was at 35. I just made 10 grand. I thought, I'm a genius. I'm Warren Buffett. Like, forget the restaurant business. If I can make this kind of money in 2 days. I've traded over the years, like I said, long-term trades, made some money, some not so good. But like I said, I do have a good life, but I've learned that unless you really know something, don't just jump into it. I saw weed climbing. When I bought it at 30, I got out at 35, I made money. I saw it climb to 37, I went, oh my God, I'm gonna miss out. I bought it at 37, got out at 39, made another 5 grand. That's 15 grand. It kept going, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. This seems so easy. Just throw a dart anywhere. I bought at 44, and that's where the story began. That's how I guess came to meet Blaze Capital. Everywhere on the other YouTube videos, people were saying, buy, everything's going to be okay. Just buy weed stocks, you're going to be rich. Look at me, look at my car. Anyways, the weed stocks started going down from like 44 to, I remember it was like at $32 in a few days. I asked myself, what's going on? Like, how could it just be going down? I thought this was just going to go up forever. I was hoping it would go back up. I'll never say those words again. I'm using it today just for this testimonial. I'll get to that later. By the way, hope is not an investment strategy. I learned that here at Blaze Capital. You'll never say that word again after a few months here at Blaze if ever you do join. I sure don't ever say it. Anyhow, I used to look on YouTube and see, I looked at these so-called gurus and they were just saying, buy, it's going to go to the moon while they were going down. This was a bit confusing. So from being up 15K, now I'm down 25K. I don't feel like Warren Buffett anymore. I see one night I come home and I said, let me look what other people think, like on YouTube or something. I notice I punch in weed and it comes technical analysis, .co. It seemed like a kind of no-name brand thing at the supermarket. In fact, when I opened it, there was not even a face. There was just a screen, charts, and this guy talking. I started listening. He sounded like he knew what he was talking about, but no flash, no pizzazz. I started writing down the stuff that this guy would say, and then I'd go to bed, go to work, and I would notice the next day I would check the stocks and look at a chart and say, this guy seemed right. He was saying things in his videos I would watch at night, shorting, trend line, support, resistance, stops, a house, level 2, trends. Don't ever average down. Don't let a green trade go red. If you don't take a small loss, you're going to be forced to take a big one. These are some of the things that I've learned from Blaze Capital. You can't help but to learn it. You keep hearing it over and over. They'll pump it in your head till you get it. At least I've learned since I've been here. FOMO, it's not the dollar amount, it's the percentage amount. That's one of the most important things I've learned here at Blaze Capital. I used to think buying stocks at $1 were better at 10. Makes no difference. What's heavier? A ton of rocks or a ton of feathers? 10 grand in a $1 stock or 10 grand in a $20 stock. If either of the stocks goes up 10%, you make 10%. That's one thing I learned that's very important from Blaze Capital, and I'm grateful for that. We're taught not to throw darts, to have an unfair advantage before we get into a trade. The risk reward is important. All kinds of things that I never really paid attention to in the past. Day after day, I kept watching this guy's videos, and I realized almost everything he was saying was coming true. And it was happening. The more and more I noticed more people were watching. You can tell from like the views on YouTube, and people were writing questions, but it wasn't live. So he opened this kind of website. I think he had an old domain. I remember it was 420 Capital. That's how it all began. He started this kind of site just so we'll be able to talk to each other. And when he opened it, we got to ask him a lot of questions. And believe me, he got bombarded with questions. I was one of those guys. He would be bullish day after day and then turn bearish. And I would ask, how is that? Well, the market changed. And that's also one thing that I've learned here at Blaze Capital. Anyhow, later on, you learn about going with the trends. No one can predict what's going to happen with the stock market. But one thing I learned here at Blaze Capital since I've joined a year ago is that you could narrow down the probabilities of what might happen in the stock market and prepare yourself. That's what I've learned at Blaze Capital. Back to the story, he answered all our questions that everyone had. He was kind of more trying to teach people how not to lose money, not just how to get rich, because some people were just saying, when do I buy? When do I sell? That's not what Blaze Capital is about. I realize that now after a year. It's kind of like a school. Most everybody loses money at day trading. You may not like to hear that, but most everybody loses money at day trading. You won't hear that because everyone just likes to say when they have winning trades, when they do good. No one wants to brag. No one says, hey man, I lost 10 grand today. Like, how does that make me look? We're playing against big time money managers. Against regular people like you and me, I make souvlakis, and there's a money manager who went to school for 10 years who has algorithms, and I'm playing against him. It's stacked against us. That's a fact. That's one thing I learned here at Blaze. They're smarter than us. They have more money than us. They have more skills than us. But most people don't think about stuff like that. Do you think about floats, volume, shorts, house position, stop loss hunts? These are things you should understand and know before becoming a trader. So I'm sure whenever you bought a stock and it goes up, you're all excited and it's going great. But when it goes down, you just freeze. You kind of watch your screen and you don't know what to do. Well, not knowing what to do was kind of why I joined Blaze Capital. It's the stuff you learn here at Blaze Capital, and it's what I enjoyed the most. When you don't have a plan, you usually do nothing. You hope it'll go up, but if it doesn't go up and you just keep letting it go down and go down and go down, you didn't have a plan. When you're not prepared, you're gonna be indecisive. Indecision usually means no decision. Again, that's the kind of stuff that I find important that I learned here at Blaze Capital. It has now grown to a community of over 300 people who love to learn about stocks, who share things every day. And I'll tell you a bit of what we have at Blaze because I feel part of Blaze now after a year. So during the day, we get alerts. If things are booming, we get alerts like, hey, things are doing good, watch this. If things are bad, we get warnings. We'll get a siren. If things are are neutral, we're going to be told we just keep bouncing off each other. We trade together, we trade alone. We watch each other's backs in other trades and ideas. I can say I have grown amazingly, and so has this community grown. So feeling a part of it is something that I'm proud of. We have different channels. So we have like a news channel where we have this girl, Laura. She's the best at news retrieval. She gets it all, she gets it fast, she shares it with the group, keeps us aware of all the latest news, and anyone could join on in. But we have Laura, and what makes it even better, like we have D Square, who just adds on top of that. We have another channel called Alerts. Alerts is where Justin and Rick, who are the two founders of Blaze, they discuss different strategies and ideas. So I always wondered, how do other traders think? Guys who know what they're doing. Well, here we have a chance to watch two professional traders who have two different styles. You can see them talking back and forth, passing ideas back, and get to learn and see the way their thought patterns are. We have an educational channel for questions about anything. If you want to know what's a better bank, what's a better platform, there's so many things I've learned just in the education channel that has nothing to do with stock. I just wanted to learn about stocks, ask a question. Now we have 300 people who can give each other answers. Everything is so much quicker. We have a marijuana channel. That's the pride and joy of Blaze Capital. Blaze Capital, I guess you kind of get the point. The marijuana channel is what it's all about when it comes to Blaze. That's where it all started. So it's the biggest channel. It's weed stocks only. That's the most popular one. Things are changing. We may evolve, but right now, so many people are in it, and we just pass ideas back and forth. It's a great thing. I've learned to be a better trader, especially when it comes to weed stocks, since I've joined Blaze Capital. We have a stock channel, which is all about regular stocks, tech, gold, everything. And it's opened my eyes now. When things aren't going good in one industry, maybe look at another industry. We have educational videos like that I've watched that changed my way of thinking and the way I decide to make trades. So the one thing I learned at Blaze Capital is you don't have to make the same money back on the same stock. I used to think when a stock goes down, you just wait, you don't sell it. Well, sometimes it can go years. I remember when I last owned a Bombardier, I bought it at 6. It was like 8 years, it was still at $2. Well, you don't have to hodl a stock. I've learned that here at Blaze Capital. I can give you a quick example. I bought MYM not long ago. I saw it at 5. They went down to around 1. I remember I bought it at 120. I put 10 grand in it. So it'll never go lower than 120. It went lower than 120. It went down to 50 cents. I was down 50, 60%. For the longest time, I kept thinking it's going to pop. All the weed stocks start going up. That stays. I just have that money sitting there. I don't want to sell at a loss. I've become part of Blaze Capital. I asked Rick and Justin, what should I do? Should I sell? This was in a private download. I didn't want to say it out loud over the air with everyone. And they tell me I should sell. Why hold a losing trade? You don't have to make it back in the same stock. From my 10 grand, there's 5 grand left. I took the 5 grand, put it in VFF. Now, as MYM went from 120 to 50 cents and stayed there, VFF, that 5 grand that I left there for so long, went from 7 to 20. I think I got out maybe at $11, but my point was the money that I lost in MYM, if I waited, I'd still be a loser in it. I switched over to another stock, made the money back, and made some gains. This is one of the most important things I'm glad to have learned from Blaze Capital. One of the best things I've learned. Now, recently we started an account builder program where it's low risk trades. It's kind of like 1%. It's boring. So if you want to make money, it's boring. If you're just here for the excitement and you just want to trade fast, well, account builder is not for you. Because we have so many cool things going on at Blaze. Like ever since I joined, I feel like I'm part of Blaze because it's not like one person. It's everyone together is just giving you information. There's not just ask Rick or ask John or Bob. Like we're just look at it this way. We have guys like Matt who joined not long ago. He grew so fast. We watched him trade. We watched him chart. He's a great charter. He even works now for the company. Like that's how good he got. We got guys like Buddha, totally different style. To me, he's always doing good. Buddha moves, I call them, when he's rocking. He helps out members all the time. He always posts his charts. One of my favorite things about Buddha is when he gets FOMO, he buys one share to avoid that FOMO. Could be another good thing that I learned from Blaze Capital. It seems to work for Buddha. So lately we have a new member, Phantasma, a great technical trader, if you ask me. I've watched him. He shares his ideas. He tells it like it is. He doesn't hold back from telling people not to talk nonsense and do their homework before just posting something. He's been on point ever since I've seen him join the group, and I'm glad that he's on board because he's at a different level, and it makes me proud to be part of a community that has so many good people that we can talk to nonstop all day. So now, all the time that I used to trade, I used to sit alone, or in my restaurant, I would go in the back room, look at something on YouTube. Now, just imagine, instead of being alone, you're now part of a group of over 300 people who watch everything and are sharing everything they see in real time, live all day. That's what I get from Blaze Capital. Joining Blaze is not, you're no longer alone. There's no flashiness about Blaze cars or you're going to get rich, but everything's going to the moon. It's straight up discussions of stock of around 300 people. I think we are now in the group, if not more. We just pass information back and forth. There's nothing better than that. Imagine being 300 minds trying to battle the money managers instead of one. You have no chance alone, but think of the movie 300. Well, Blaze Capital is the 300 of the stock market, according to me. Since I've joined, I have nothing but good things to say. Every day, we wake up, we chat pre-market, we throw back and forth our ideas. Before, I just used to get up and just say, hey, maybe I'll buy this or buy that. Now we discuss in the morning, we trade during the day, we talk. At lunchtime, we have intraday videos. Who else does that? We trade, and around 12 o'clock, Justin goes live. We all join. This is while the charts are moving. We're talking about it. Lunchtime is usually slower. We throw things back and forth. If something is too good to resist, we get alerts for day trades. We get daily alerts for day trades. When to buy, when to sell. It does happen. It's not what we do all the time. That's not what Blaze is about. But I love those alerts. I've banked on them many times. So to think of I have to pay a membership, I've paid my membership just in the few trades that I've got. So ever since I've joined Blaze, I could say it didn't cost me anything. Look at the group's track record. Go back, see the videos on YouTube, and you'll see. Decide for yourself. A great example lately that I've learned about due diligence is we've all been trading weed. Things have been going good. About a week ago, Justin did a due diligence on CanTrust. A lot of people worked on it together, but not as many as, say, Justin would have liked. He did a 2-hour due diligence. We all liked the stock, even Justin liked it. But after his due diligence, his report after was, it's no good. Like after reading the numbers, the fundamentals, something doesn't look good about it. Not everyone watched the video. Most people didn't even pay attention to it. Well, looky what happened just a few days ago. Not even, I think, a week later after Justin hits that due diligence, 25% drop right off the bat. People got caught in this. I'm not going to deny that. It's not that we only make money here. We're all still learning. But as we learn as we go on here. So it's like going to stock school. The teacher may say something over and over again, but if you don't learn it and use it and exercise it, it won't work. Justin always gave an example to us like it's like becoming a doctor. Does a doctor just become a doctor, or does he say, I want to become a doctor? And then he applies to a school. They pay thousands and thousands, though they go to school for 4 years, 8 years, 10 years, pay hundreds of thousands of dollars, and then become a doctor. Well, it costs you a lot of money to go to doctor school. You pay, then when you're good enough to do that trade, you'll make that money. So if ever you're losing money in trades and you think you're a loser, you're not a loser. That's one thing that I've learned here at Blaze Capital. One of the other great things that I've learned here at Blaze Capital. You're paying to go to stock school. You better start learning if you want to succeed in this business. Blaze Capital is a great place to start learning. I know I've evolved beyond what you could imagine since I've joined a year ago. Justin may not always be right. Not everyone is right at Blaze Capital. But I can tell you something. I've been part of Blaze since the beginning. And Justin is right 8 out of 10 times. That's a pretty good percentage to be right when it comes to the stock market. He may not always say what I like to hear or what anyone likes to hear, but I like that he tells the truth. Sometimes he can sound like a bit of an a-hole, but we need that sometimes. So a lot of people, we don't want to hear the truth. But now I definitely appreciate the truth, and I try to throw in my truths and be part of a community that we can have each other's back. We don't just talk at Blaze Capital. Like, I've done trades, people do trades. Everyone shows each other their trades to prove that what they say is what they do. Justin has made a few good moves since I've joined. I remember seeing them, and he explained to us how he did it. A good story was the Tilray story, and I think a lot of people in the group who were there earlier remember this day. Justin hated Tilray. He didn't want us to buy, didn't want anyone to buy. He said, stay away. We watched that thing go from 20 to like 70 to like 100 to 300. Well, at one point, no matter how much he hated it, he couldn't resist. One night he saw something, Justin saw something in options, which was still above my pay grade at the time. If you don't understand options, that's also something that I've learned here. Before Blaze Capital, I didn't know anything about options. I've heard of them, but 1 year into it, now I know how to trade options. It's a quick game. Learn how to trade successfully first, then move on there. Anyways, that's another story. You can see that if you do join Blaze, there's a whole section of videos just to learn about options. So educate yourself. From now on, if you decide to join the group, I would give this advice like I did. I listened, I learned, and then when I was ready, I earned. I didn't just jump in. The few times I just jumped in, that never worked out. So educate yourself like I did. This is a good place to learn. I can vouch for that. A few things to remember ever since I joined here that just stick with me, and maybe you can take this home with you if you're thinking of joining. Think about these things and then think about everything you've done to trade. Never let a green trade go red. Never let a green trade go red. One of the first things I've learned here at Blaze Capital. Cut your losses quick, let your winners run. Moving up stop losses as your winners are running up, you always protect your gains. Never average down, something I used to do all the time. Why add money to a losing trade? Never ever average down, always average up. It's hard to grasp at first. It took me 50 times to hear that before I finally understood it. On the rare case, it's possible if you're a big investor, but for most people, do not average down. You're throwing money at a losing trade. That will never work out to you. And if it does, you're getting rewarded for bad behavior. It's not about the dollars. It's about percentage. Everyone thinks I made $1 a share. You may have made $1 a share because your stock went up $1. My stock may have went up 10 cents, but my percentage was 40% that day and yours was 5. It's not about dollars. It's about percentage. That's what matters when it comes to the stock market. And follow your rules. Have a plan. If you wake up every day and you trade and you don't have a plan, odds are it's not going to work out for you. I've learned that from Blaze Capital. And ever since I learned and follow these rules that I've learned here at Blaze, it seems to be just getting easier and easier. What could take someone 5 years to learn, being part of Blaze, I've been learning for a year now. I don't think it's going to take me 5 years to learn like Justin did. I don't think I'm going to bust my account like he did, because I'm not going to make those mistakes. I'm learning from his mistakes. I don't need to make those mistakes. I've made a few. I won't deny that. Like, even from the things I learned, it's taken me time to learn to follow the rules. Every time I seem to break the rules, I lost. I'm learning every day at Blaze Capital too, and I think you can too. There's a free trial. I want to make this short. I just wanted to get my 2 cents out of how I felt about Blaze Capital. So look, if you're thinking of joining, there is a free trial. At first, it was free when we joined. There's a free trial. You can check it out. Join, watch the YouTube videos. And if you like what it is, join Blaze Capital like I did. And ever since then, things have been going good for me. That I can honestly say. I'd like to thank Justin and Rick and everyone at Blaze Capital for everything they taught me, and most of all the money I banked since I joined. Before I joined, it was just that one fluky time it went down. I lost 15 grand. I made up more than my losses because of Blaze Capital, and it's unbelievable to me how much quicker I learned about this trade with Blaze Capital than I would have learned on my own. Well, they never make me feel alone. I used to trade alone. So thank you for making me not feel alone. And most of the community, you guys know what I'm talking about. We're all in it together, guys and girls. We are a family now, and I'm part of a family now, the Blaze Capital family. So, family never lets you down. You want to join a good family? I can vouch for Blaze Capital, and ever since I've joined, things have just gotten better for me. I'm going to learn every day. I keep learning every day, but I could tell you I'm no more emotional and I never make those rookie mistakes that I used to make. Anyhow, like we say at Blaze Capital all the time, have a good night and let's go make some money. Thanks.